Hello there. Welcome to February 25th, 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do every morning a little bit after waking up to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the challenges and the opportunities that I met. I remember the 8 objectives of my creed, finding my way forward, what I'm striving to do today, at least in terms of principle. And then I go over my plan for the coming day. But before I do that, let me welcome my new YouTube subscribers. Wow, so many of you coming in lately, ever since I came back to Japan. I guess when it comes to YouTube, it really was the Japan all along. Because after I went back to America in 2014, I watched my subscriber count just steadily drop off, making content outside of Japan, and now that I'm back in, it's gone back in the other direction. So happy to see you all. Welcome. Just a little disclaimer, although I am in Japan right now, this is a Japanese convenience store called Mini Stop. This video is not a Japan video. This is a video that I do every day as kind of a journal entry. So if you're not interested in hearing about my life, there might be better videos to watch instead of this one. And you can always tell this video because it has the title, The Good Life, which is the title that I gave to my personal life creed. Also, it has a little sunshine emoji in the thing, and you can expect it about this time every day. All right, so there's that. Also, I want to say thanks to my YouTube subscribers, my Patreon members, and my YouTube members for buying me this coffee this morning. I elected to get it's cold coffee. It's actually still cold outside, but I elected to get a cold coffee this morning after yesterday's experience with sugar. I'll tell you about that in a second. So this is a cafe latte grand size, big size. Sugar-free is the key. I'm trying to keep away from that. I made a mistake yesterday that I'll talk about in just a second. I made a mistake regarding my diet, my intake. I overdid it yesterday, but I'll get to that in a second. So thank you to my supporters, and thank you for the new Patreon members. There's been new members the last couple of days. I'm going to send some thanks, some welcomes to all of you. My Patreon members. Thank you. It's great to have new friends on Patreon. I really appreciate your support. You literally, fuel my endeavors here in Japan, and soon, hopefully, that will include things like buying train tickets to get places to make interesting Japan content, and buying lunch. I appreciate that too. Okay, so now it's time to get into it. This is the meat of the meditation. I'm going to do 3 things. I will talk about the last 24 hours. I will go over the 8 objectives of my creed, and I'll plan for the coming day. I think I need a sip as I dive into this. Oh, and if you leave a comment, I do apologize. I don't respond or even read comments as they're happening. I save comments to the end. That's because this exercise is an exercise of reflection, personal reflection, that I'm just simply doing in a public venue. Why does he do it in a public venue? I'll explain that in a second. So as such, since it's a personal reflection, it literally is a meditation session to think about and meditate on life, I need to have that personal discourse to occur, because the way I operate is I put something out, I observe it, and then I have thoughts that go on about it. It's kind of like if you've used some of the more interesting AIs that are out now and use the thinking mode, you can see the AI thinking about the prompt and the query that you gave it. That's what this is. I need to think, and I need to let my mind go over the details, to look at the challenges and the opportunities from different angles to come up with a plan and a response. I do that all in my head. And now, since I've been doing this exercise for the last 8 years, I do it vocally. I'm thinking and speaking at the same time. So this is your chance to, if you're interested, to watch me tackle my life challenges, and also to recognize when things go well And because I want to tune things, right? This is a tuning exercise to get myself better aligned towards the mark. What is the mark? The mark is living in accordance with my objectives and using my principles to get me there. So why do I do this publicly? Why don't I just sit here and at this little convenience store by myself and do it alone? Well, two reasons. One, selfish reason, is that I do a better job if I have an audience. I've done this enough to know that if I don't turn the camera on, I guess it's performance. I want performance, not anxiety, but performance to drive. If people are watching, even if there's nobody actually watching, making the fact that the camera's on forces to be me to do a more complete and comprehensive job. I just do a better job at this. The very few times that I do this, because I do it every day, if I don't turn the camera on, I don't do as good. So I want to do a good job because I want to live a good life. I want to live a worthwhile life. I want to make good use of every day. The second reason is I've been, like I said, I've been doing this for 8 years now. I've had lots of feedback from people who tell me that watching me, if not daily, but whenever they choose to tune in, watching me struggle, and because there is a lot of struggle my way through life at age 60, helps them to realize that they're not alone in the fact that they're struggling, and might give them some ideas about how they might address their own struggles. So there you go. I do want to be helpful. Let's get into it. I keep notes for every day. Today is the 25th. I call this day Strategy Day. So the last 24 hours, I have 3 notes here and a couple of sub notes. The first one is I have a note here that says I hit the wall, and then in parentheses, again, -sugar. What happened was I've been, since about 57, 58, I've noticed I've kind of got an expiration date every day, in terms of energy and a capability. I just run out. Diet really helps me to stay in good shape, and I do eat very well, and I have for many years. But even in spite of that, even in spite of the fact that I eat very well, I just can't keep going the way I used to. And that's not a problem. That's a natural consequence of growing old. This is not an issue that I need to fix because I'm already eating well, getting lots of exercise, lots of rest. I have very little stress in my life anymore since I retired. I just have to realize that at age 60, I can't go like I used to. So yesterday, I don't think I physically overdid it as much as I added an element that I knew was going to take me out. We were having a great day yesterday. We were doing DIY work, my wife Yumiko and her sister Yoko, and we were working on a room in the Japanese. We bought a home recently here in Japan, and it's a definite fixer-upper. And there's a room called the Senmenjo, and the Senmenjo is it's connected to the room where you clean up, the Japanese bathroom, right? It's not the toilet; it's the place where the bathtub is. Japanese baths are different than Western baths, right? I mean, they're like a room. Everything can get wet. You can splash around and have fun. And there's a tub and there's water. But then there's a next room connecting it. There's a door that opens to a next room called the Senmenjo. And often the washing machine is in there and the vanity is in there, towels and stuff like that. So our Senmenjo and the Japanese bath need to be completely redone. So we decided to pull out, because we hired a contractor. But we decided to get ahead of things. And in the Senmenjo, we pulled out the cabinets, the vanity, the mirror, and taking down the wallpaper. Pretty simple stuff. Yesterday was a holiday here in Japan, the Emperor's birthday, and recognizing the Emperor's birthday, which was on Sunday. We took that task on, and I went hog wild. I made 2 trips to the hardware store to get tools. And I took out the vanity and the mirror thing by myself. And I was all right. I was doing good until we decided after lunch to get coffee. And I made the critical mistake of doing two things. I chose to get a mocha. Normally I'm a drip coffee kind of guy, black coffee, because I'm avoiding the sugar. I don't even want the cream. I just want black coffee. I was on such a roll yesterday. I told my wife, get me a mocha, cafe mocha, and then I added injury to insult, and I said, make it a venti, the big size. As if that wasn't enough, Yumiko and Yoko, when they went out, they went to Mr. Donuts and they got chocolate donuts. I knew they were going to do that too, because they asked me what kind of donut I wanted, and I said chocolate. We came back and we sat up at the table. I took off my tool belt and I sat down and I was facing this venti mocha in this box with 2 chocolate donuts in it. And I looked at that and I a little backward process in the back of my head said, don't do it, Kurt. You're doomed. Just the mocha alone is going to kill you. Because I knew what would happen. If I did that, it would take me out. I didn't heed it. I was riding that roller coaster of good energy. I had so much success yesterday, taking out all that stuff. I downed 2/3 of the mocha, and then ate 1 whole donut. And after I did that, I was like a man who had just cheated on his wife. And I felt guilt and remorse, and I knew what was coming. And sure enough, within an hour, I was finished. And I remember the moment it happened. We were in the Senmenjo taking out the wallpaper, and I had the big new scraper that we bought, and I was scraping away. And quite suddenly I just felt like, oh my God, I'm going down. Scrape. And I just took the tool and I put it down and I said to Yumiko and Yoko, I'm sorry, I'm going upstairs to lay down on the tatami room. And on the floor of my room. And I was finished, just wiped out. So this was a case of, this was exactly like choosing to go out and have a night out on the town and over drinking and knowing you're gonna wipe yourself out and accepting that was gonna happen and doing it anyway. And that's what happened. Yoko, my sister-in-law, made nabe for dinner, which always does the job usually does the job of bringing me back. It brought me back 35-40%. I was still out. So for the evening dog walk, I just walked far enough until Rudy, the white dog, did his business, and then I went home, took a bath, uploaded my last video of the day, and went to bed. This morning I feel back on my feet, but I'm quite reflective. I'm ashamed of myself that I did that, knowing what was going to happen. What the hell was I thinking? So what could I do about that? Well, this is an after the fact thing. I knew I was making a mistake in the moment, and I chose to make that mistake, and I knew what the consequences would be. So I guess there's nothing more to reflect on that other than this is no different than choosing, knowing that I was heading down the wrong path and choosing that wrong path anyway and accepting the consequences. There's nothing to learn from it other than the fact that if I chose to go the dark, if I choose to go walk on the dark side, I should expect dark results. It's not like I was surprised. So that's that. So I guess I could say don't do this again, but I chose to do it again. And I'm sure I'll choose to do it again. Okay, now the next one, there's 2 more to go. The next one is a little more of an interesting one. I have to kind of find my way through this one. I'm starting to dawn on me one of the reasons, because I've been gone from Japan for over a decade, and the reason that I left Japan was, I thought, clear to me at the time. It was to get ahead, literally financially. I just couldn't climb on top of things here. I had a good job, but it wasn't enough to save or put my daughter through college or live the kind of life that I wanted to live. So I went back to America, took a huge gamble to embark on a career that I thought could indeed do all those things. And it did. So it turned out going back to California for financial reasons was a great choice. A risky choice for sure, but it literally paid off. I thought now that since I had achieved the goals of getting my daughter through college, saving and getting myself into a position of retirement, having enough money to buy a house and a car, and come back to Japan, I thought that having all those things checked off and finished, the drive, the feeling that I had here that I couldn't succeed. I literally made a video titled, it's on my Lyle's Brother channel, I can't succeed in Japan. I literally thought that since I had satisfied all those big life criteria, that this challenge wouldn't be offered here anymore. I could come back and enjoy the best parts of life in Japan without feeling like I was not living up to my potential. It looks like I was wrong about that. And here's why. It wasn't about the money as much. It was very large. Let's put it into percentage. It was 3/4 money was why I left Japan. Now I'm realizing it was 1/4 challenge. I do not rest, and I don't, how do I say it? I'm not a man of leisure. I need to wake up to a hard problem every day. And I need to be in a circumstance where there are others like me who are taking on hard problems, as painful as it can be and as difficult as it can be. And I also am a person who needs to be in an environment where new ideas are welcomed and where we can fight and kick the crap out of one another in pursuit of solutions that work. That's why now I realize why I enjoyed and why I succeeded as an IT project manager, because that's exactly what I was done. I was, as an IT project manager what I did for the County of Riverside, where my specialty was what are called enterprise level projects. Enterprise means we served an employee base of 35,000 county workers. So, and 35 separate departments, and each department would have its applications, its IT applications, and its employee base. And then the enterprise stuff is the software and hardware solutions that service that entire 35,000 base. And enterprise-wide, they cover everything. Like the county, each organization has their own little applications that run their own services, but the overall county has an email system or a web solution. That was one of my last projects. I was tasked to take all 35 agencies that each of them had their own web solution, their own web server, set up for their website, and I was the project manager who united them under a single umbrella of a Drupal web service, and then migrated each of the county departments into that service, trained them how to use it, and set them off on their way with supporting infrastructure from the county IT group. So that was a huge, giant project. It was my last giant project. As such, that was my life. I would have usually 2 or 3 of these projects. I would manage 2 or 3 projects at one time. There was no rest to challenge. I was constantly striving and struggling under the heavy weight of enormous responsibility and challenge. And it was thrilling and exciting. And the people that I worked with were really interesting, engaging people for the most part. Now I realize, because the note that I have here is a land without challenge. Japan is a land without challenge. I don't have any of that here. This is a place where you wake up in the morning and if you have a job, like I used to have, you go in and you do that job, and that job had very fixed parameters, You know, you, you hammer nails all day, or whatever. Because sure, Japan has lots of jobs like I just described, but I'm not qualified for any of them. I don't speak or read or write the language, right? So my job qualifications here are hammering nails all day long, teaching English, whatever the case may be, which is dynamic insofar as you get to have the human element, but not what I was after. That's not what I want. I want the giant challenge of like figuring out how does one technology integrate with another technology when they're not compatible necessarily, and how are we going to train everybody to do it? You see what I mean? Project plans, budgets, schedules, etc., communication plans, working with people, having interpersonal, human elements as well, all of that. Now, that's an eye-opener to me. I didn't see that coming because I forgot. I forgot, and I thought that I wouldn't want it anymore. I thought that now that my career is done, I wouldn't want or need that challenge. And I don't want it, at least not in a career sense, because I'm done with that. But I miss it. It doesn't mean I'm looking for a solution. It doesn't mean I want to find a job or something here in Japan. I'm not fishing. At this point, I'm not fishing for something to fill this hole. I am simply saying, there's a hole. Look at that. Look at that. I came back to Japan, and I miss being important and useful and functional and constructive and good at what I did. Fancy that. I shouldn't be surprised. Now, I'm doing a little drawing here showing an expansion, taking from that challenge and drawing a couple lines out here to say, what could I do to fill that? Well, first and foremost, I know exactly what I'm going to do. This fishing expedition just ended. Going alone is my life's work. Writing that book, the story. I've built a whole infrastructure, my website, goingalone.org, this channel, my social media, all of it is aimed and it's an infrastructure to support going alone. What I need to do is step into that role, almost like an IT project manager again, but in this case it will be it'll be like a social media, so what would it be? It's a project manager of a different sort, managing my going alone mission, which I have not been doing since I came back. Even since I came back, I haven't done one single book reading since I came back. I can totally pivot, and I'm completely ready now to pivot from being an IT project manager to being the author and social media contributor for the Going Alone series, Going Alone book. And that's what I will do. So, hole identified, filler identified. So today dawned as strategy day. The strategy will be going alone. So what I need to do now is to find a way to do that. But I have to do it carefully because I have to balance it with the fact that we haven't got a place to live in yet. Our home we bought, our DIY home, isn't ready for us to live in. I have to focus on that first. So I know what it is, going alone. In fact, I'm going to add that. So I'm going to turn a page to tomorrow, and I'm going to literally draw a little shelf here. You see the little shelf? It looks like a torii shrine gate. I'm going to put, this is for tomorrow. I'm putting on the shelf going alone because I can't engage in it right now because I need to finish the house with my wife. But at least I know what I'm going to do. And I can take all my skills and all my capabilities as a project manager and apply it there. Most of the work is done. I simply have to engage. So that's that. The land without challenge. I will bring my own challenge with me. Okay, so then that third item is the new life routine plan. Well, I put here that AM would be home and PM would be walking in Japan, but I've changed my mind. PM is going to be going alone, but I have to put a hold on that until the house is ready to live in, because we don't even have a place to take a bath there yet. Well, that's it. Those are the 3 things I wanted to cover. Now let me quickly recite the 8 objectives of my creed. They are: to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunity, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully, and to keep my balance. As for today, it's almost 6, it's 5:59 a.m. 6 a.m. will be here soon. We're going to walk the dogs at 7, and then we'll have breakfast and start our day. I think the only thing I'm going to shoot for today is to get the wallpaper off the Senmenjo, and then we'll call it a day. And hopefully sneak some walks in there and do a lot of reflection about what I've just put on the shelf. That's it. My meditation is complete. Now let me see if I have any comments to respond to, and I'll call it a day. Or I'll call it a meditation. Hi, Warren. Hello. Renaissance. Hi, Kurt. It seems that your plans for a new bathroom is in full swing. Great job on the prep work. Thank you. There's April. Good morning, Kurt. Hi, April. Renaissance says, how do you see being ready as a principle instead of a result of the actions based on your principles and objectives? Being ready is being ready. Let's see. As a principle, I don't think it is a principle. It's not. Is it? Did I say it was a principle? Being ready to die is an objective, if that's what you mean. So being ready to die is an objective, so that my life is in a settled state at all times should death come right away. Hopefully I'm answering your question. Act 98006 says, if you pull off any more wallpaper, you might consider getting a heat gun to loosen the glue. It might make removal easier. Thank you for suggesting that. I will talk with Himiko about it, and we'll talk to the Tensho-san at the hardware store. That is a great idea, yeah. Rich Renaissance confirming what Act said. Act goes on, with the washer pulled out, you will not be able to do laundry at the house until the bath remodel is done. No, as soon as we get good point, but as soon as we get the wallpaper out, we'll just move the washing machine back in and plug it back in. So that should be done today. Renaissance says, Nabe is very rich, rich. I think you mean rich. It is a good way to recover most of the time. Yeah. Blue Tanuki, hey Blue Tanuki, good to see you. Have a great day. I have to sign off now to drop my son off. All right. April says, April, getting close to your day, huh? Departure day. It is hard leaving the structured life, like with other people making the structure versus timing out your own schedule. Well, I was responsible for my own schedule in my old life as well, but I had a necessity for that. I had a need to make a schedule. Now I don't have that need, and if I don't actively do it, it won't make a schedule. I guess that's why I had set out here for a new life plan. There's a demand to make a schedule. April goes on. I myself struggle with self-structure. I like having set goals that I know need done, and having someone else to keep me on track. Maybe not so much on track, but that outside motivation. I understand what you mean. Yeah, having stakeholders on my projects was a great motivation, because they required status reports every Friday. That's something I should do. I should start status reports to myself. Or status reports. You know what I could do? I could make status reports. Thank you for your comment, April. You've given me an idea. I do a weekly blog post for my Patreon subscribers. Maybe I could add to that a status report, because in effect my Patreon supporters are supporting me in my endeavor of sharing the message of my book, Going Alone, the message of basically standing on one's own 2 feet and reconciling a universe chock full of emptiness and developing objectives and principles of our own, or borrowing good ones that we can find from others to give our lives structure and meaning. I could give a status report. I could include that. You know what? I could change it, April. You've just given me a great idea. I could change it from a weekly status report, change kind of the flavor of that through the status report of the mission of going alone. Well, I'm going to chew on that. Thanks, April. April goes on, I think that's why I struggle with daily household management as a housewife. I understand. Yeah, it's hard when you've got your stakeholders in your family, right? April says, your blog posts and description pages are super well written. I'm always jealous as I go through them. LOL. I write a lot, so I write every day a journal entry. I have been writing journal entries every day for decades. I mean, I've burned most of my journals, but I've been doing this since I was in college. So thank you for the nice comment. Yeah, practice. It helps to practice. Renaissance says it takes time. Transitions take time. Yep. ACT says, if your home is not ready to live in yet, are you going to stay in the apartment through March? No, we've only got 3 more days left in the apartment. We've given notice. In hindsight, Yumiko and I wish that we had kept the apartment through March for exactly that reason, but we already pulled the plug on that one. So we're moving, which I think will be it'll be an impetus to settle into the apartment and make it ready. We have the contractor, we just need to engage and get the work done. April says, is there a local Sento you can go to so you're not always having to bathe at Dad Yoko's house? There's no Sento, but there's an onsen a short distance away. It's kind of a Sento / onsen, more onsen than anything else. We could do that, and I'm not looking forward. April, I didn't talk about it in this, but I'm not looking forward. It's not that I don't want to bathe at Dad's house. Well, there's that. It's just that I'm like I've got a timer. It's like about 8 p.m. every night. I'm finished. I start to wind down, and by 9 I got to be in bed. And I don't know if we're going to be able to pull off all of this. The dog walks, everything, and bath at someone else's house. This isn't going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge for me. April goes on, how are you going to tackle that Guadalupe Mary picture in your room? Good question, April. At first I thought about keeping it up as an interesting bit of history from the family, especially given that I plan to do a lot of vlogging from that room. But I'm getting a lot of feedback from people who admire that work. And as an atheist who periodically talks about my lack of belief in God, I can see that could be problematic if I've got the Virgin of Guadalupe in my room at the same time. So in terms of, I don't want to be disrespectful. So I think I'm going to paint her over her. Haven't quietly decided, but more and more every day I'm leaning towards painting over that. Dr. Buchanan, hi, good morning, or good, whatever it is for you. Hi, Kurt, have you asked yourself what you love or what you would love to do? Many years ago, I made a switch and found a great satisfaction in doing what I really love. Yes, I have. What I love to do, Dr. Buchanan, is I love to walk and think. That's my tagline. And that's one of the reasons why my series here in Japan, although I haven't done it since I came back, is called Walking in Japan. So I love to just walk the countryside here, walk the cityscape, and enjoy that. I love it more than anything else. In addition, and as an extension of that, I love to write. So I've written books, and I continue to write every day, and I love to proselytize the Good Life Creed. So those are the things that I love to do. Number 35. So you're talking about my objectives. My principles, number 35. Let's see if I can remember what that is. That's the last principle, which would, hold on. You've challenged me, given me a good challenge. What is principle number 35? The principle of, I don't remember. Maybe, you're listed in your principles here. I'm afraid I don't remember what it is. If you could jog my memory, I'd appreciate it. Bob, hi Bob. Hi Kurt, may I suggest you cut the bamboo close to the ground before digging? Actually, what I'm doing, Bob, is I see what you're saying. Cut it close, maybe for safety reasons. That's probably a good idea. Yeah, I tried that with one or two. It was just a heck of a lot of extra work, right? Because you cut it close to the ground. Because I don't have a chainsaw, cutting it and then digging it out. So I'm just carefully digging it out. Now that I've got this giant pry bar, that's really helping. April goes on, we can keep you on track too. I'm on your Patreon now. Oh, you are? Thank you, April. So I noticed a couple of new members this week. I wonder if you're one of them. I really do appreciate that. So I'll keep an eye out for status reports now. Thank you. I send the status reports out every Sunday, our time here in Japan, which I guess will be your time soon too. Robert says, "Hi Kurt, you're just popping in at the end here to say howdy." Hi Robert. And Robert, of course, says hi to everybody else. Thank you for doing that, Robert. You're so congenial and community-based. April says hi to Robert. Robert says to April, "I am thinking, thank you for asking. I hope you are as well." That's good. Robert's doing good. April's doing good. Act says, "How long will the bath reform take?" We think we can get it done in 1 or 2 weeks. We're down to selecting. We have 2 manufacturers that we're choosing from, Cleanup and Takasu Standard. I think we're going to go with Cleanup, and if that's the case, then it's just a matter of, we have already got the quotes for that. We just need the contractor's information, quotes, and then we'll just go from there. And I'm going to suggest, Yumiko, that we reach out to him today, because yesterday was a holiday. Hello, I guess that means hello from Germany. Well, hello, Jans, welcome. April says, "Being ready." Oh, thank you, April. Number 35, being ready. So let's go back to the question then, because the question was about being ready. Now I understand your question. Let me see if I can find what that original question was. Thank you, April, for helping me to remember. Okay, Renaissance asked me, "How do you see being ready as a principle instead of the result of actions based on your principles and objectives?" What an interesting question. How do I see being ready as a principle? You're right, because being ready would be the end result of abiding the principles, right? So really, probably being ready deserves to be an objective, right? You want to be ready. And you know what, in a way, being ready therefore would kind of fold into the objective of balance. Because if I'm ready, you got your feet stand spread apart. You're ready for whatever batters you back and forth. You've given me some food for thoughts there, Renaissance. And April, thank you for helping. Being ready might not be a principle as much as a contributing element to the objective of balance. But you're right, it's not a principle in its own right. Wow. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Don't be surprised if it takes time. I may keep things as they are for a long time, because I tend to take this kind of stuff and put it in my head and ruminate on it. But maybe eventually I'll need to mix up things in the principles and objectives. Thank you, Renaissance. I really appreciate that. Okay. Might I suggest you cut? Okay. Okay. Hey, Robert. Okay. Gotta get back to where I was. Being ready is listed as your principle number 35. Okay, so thank you, Renaissance and Udays, who both commented on that. Thank you. And hopefully I've given you the response that you were looking for. Thank you for such an interesting observation. Clearly you give some thought to that. Robert says, "Kurt, it was in the process of doing Ty Lopez's 67-step program that I discovered a love of writing, as it requires you to write every day in response to the daily assignment." I enjoy that too. Danielle, hi Danielle. Konnichiwa, Kurt-san. Konnichiwa, Danielle. Ohayou gozaimasu. Robert says hi to Danielle. Robert says hi to Jens. Renaissance says hi back to Robert. Danielle says hi to Robert. And April says, "I'm going to check that 67-step program out, Robert. I have always wanted to get back into writing, but don't seem to have a muse anymore." Can I offer, April, that an interesting muse that I found is publishing. I put my not publishing, but taking what you write. I do a daily journal entry, and I post it on Facebook, and that's hard to do. It was hard to do initially when I first started doing it because it's embarrassing, good, bad, and ugly. But after a while, the people in my community got used to it. And Facebook was the most problematic and the hardest because that's where my family is. So it's hard for your family to see what's going on in your mind, to know that that's happening. But it's a real impetus to me to write and to write consistently. So I don't know if that would be helpful to anybody else, but making it a public event. Renaissance, no worries, Kurt. Not here to judge you. I am just following along as I live through my own challenges and prep work to move to Japan. Oh, thank you. No, and part of the reason, the whole purpose, Renaissance, of this exercise is to, in addition to tuning my life, is to remember my third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. So you've given me feedback that will help me to tune my creed to be in better alignment with reality. So this is so valuable to me to get that kind of feedback. Thank you. And good luck and congratulations on your plans to move to Japan. I'm really excited for you. I look forward. I hope you'll share more about it. John Garber. Hey, there's a name from I've known well over the years. Good morning, Kurt. We enjoy following you and Yumiko San every day. Stay safe. Thank you. I second you. Thank you, Renaissance. April says that's a good idea. Facebook posting helps with the accountability too. It is. If you can get over, April, the initial inertia and feeling of weirdness of posting your private activities on such a public place. It took a while, but with time, I've gotten used to it. Hi, John. Sometimes, April, just to add to it, it helps to have a banner under which to title. Like I'm posting my personal thoughts about life under the banner of retiring in Japan. So it kind of makes it feel like it's a blog post type of a thing, but really I'm just sharing my personal journal. Wink, wink. Act says we vicariously enjoy your adventure. Keep up the good work. I think, was that directed at me? Thank you. John, feel free to reach out anytime you need anything. Thank you, John. All right, everybody. Well, 42 minutes in. I'm going to wrap up for now. I wish you all the best. Today I'm not going to overdo it. I'm going to take it easy. Just the only task is the wallpaper, to talk to Yumiko about the contractor, and to make good use of the day. Take care, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye. Oh, last thing, April. I know this is a big week for you. Rooting for you, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. I will tell Yumiko hi for you from your April. Bye-bye.